everyone. Many of you have been enjoying the story time, so I'm still going to keep doing the other story. This is another story I got for you that I'm going to start today, and I'll read you the first chapter out of this one, and we'll keep going with it if everybody likes it. So, I'll just go ahead and get started. The name of this story is The Past Never Ends. Chapter 1, Introductions. When life gives you lemonade, be happy you didn't have to make it yourself. At least that is what I thought in the beginning. I was handed a tall glass of lemonade when I was young. At first I thought it was great, and after a few years I realized that when you get the lemonade, you don't have the opportunity to learn how to make it yourself. I'm Billy Franklin, and as a boy I spent most of my time in the woods behind my family's house. My neighborhood friends and I were always working on some project. There was 5 of us that would hang out together. It started with me and my next door neighbor, Frankie Williams. We figured out early that our names were backwards of each other, William Franklin and Franklin Williams. We both heard the story often while growing up. The Williams moved in about 6 months after I was born, and Frankie was about 4 months old. When my mother brought over muffins to the Williams to welcome them to the neighborhood, she brought me with her. Mom introduced herself, and when she told Frankie's mom my name, his mom started laughing uncontrollably. Mom didn't know what was going on. She thought she had said something wrong. When Frankie's mom finally got a hold of herself and explained to my mom what she was laughing about, my mom burst out laughing as well. She said they both had a good chuckle over it and figured it was a pretty special coincidence, and that us boys would probably be great friends. Well, they were right. Me and Frankie did just about everything together. Frankie was the best kind of friend any kid could have. He never dared me to do anything too stupid or dangerous. He always had my back when we got in trouble, and would take the blame so my parents wouldn't punish me too bad. And it was all reciprocal. I would do the same for Frankie when he needed it. Frankie was a big kid. By the time he was 9, he was 4'10" and 120 pounds. He was not fat, just big. I was about average size, but I looked small when I was with Frankie. As we got older, I caught up with him, and we both were about 6'2" and 210 pounds by the time we graduated high school. We both had brown hair and blue eyes. When I had caught up to Frankie's size, we were often mistaken as twins. He was the brother I never had. I was an only child. Frankie's parents had 2 girls. The oldest, Karen, was about 3 years younger than Frankie, and Ashley came along another 2 years later. When we were about 5, me and Frankie were in the driveway riding our big wheels around and playing cops and robbers. We were cruising around with me chasing Frankie. He came to a sudden stop, and I ran right into the back of him. "Hey, why'd you stop? It's no fun if you just stop. I can catch you too," I said just before I noticed Frankie was looking down the driveway toward the road. There, at the end of the driveway, was a kid with a big fedora hat and a pair of glasses on. He was sitting on a shiny red and blue big wheel. He hollered at us, "Hey, can I play with you guys?" Frankie looked at me, and I looked at him. With no words, we discussed it briefly, and we turned back. I asked, "Are you a stranger?" He looked puzzled for a moment and responded, "No, I'm Gary Brandon Trombley. Who are you?" "I'm William Patrick Franklin." "I'm Franklin John Williams. Sure, you can come play." He joined us, and we soon found out he lived 2 houses past the Williams. Over the next several weeks, Gary became a regular with us. We met Bert Corlew on our first day of kindergarten. He tripped coming in the classroom door, and lucky for him, Frankie was standing right there and caught him before he smashed face first into a desk. He was one of those kids that always had at least one Band-Aid somewhere on his body. We found out later that the Band-Aids were not always his idea, but his overprotective mother. She would put them on bruises and even spots where she thought bruises were forming. Apparently, Band-Aids have magic healing powers and can even prevent some injuries. I guess Mrs. Corlew wasn't entirely crazy. Bert was the clumsiest person I've ever met. Kyle Markowski's father was laid off from his job when the mill installed a machine that could do it for him. Kyle's mother started working at the local supermarket. While she was at work, his father would sit at home and drink. He was not a happy drunk, so Kyle would try to stay out of his way. One day, Kyle was playing around and bumped into a table and knocked a lamp to the floor, and it smashed. His father got mad and started chasing him. He ran outside and into the woods. He kept running deeper and deeper into the woods. Me, Frankie, Gary, and Bert were playing hide and seek. Frankie was hiding in some bushes and heard Kyle running up, but thought it was me looking for him, so he just stayed still. Kyle tripped over Frankie's leg and went flying. He scraped his forearm on a rock when he landed and started screaming. Frankie climbed out of the bush and went over to him. When he saw the blood, he called the rest of us in. We led Kyle to the stream and washed his arm off. It was just a small scratch, but it kept bleeding. So Bert gave him one of his Band-Aids that was just covering a bruise. And that is how Kyle stumbled upon us one day in the woods. So let me know if you want me to keep going with this one. I have a few more chapters that I've written, and I'm gonna try to keep writing some more. I got an idea where I'm going with this, but I'm not 100%. So I'll definitely be asking for some advice later on. Thanks for watching.